Shout out to Billy Dance, A Little Fame, Sean Price, rest in peace. Rock from Helter Skelter, Smith & Wesson. Of course, my crew. Jamel Rockwell, Sav Kills, Frank Knight, King Wally X, R. Hendrix, shout out to all Elements crew. People in battle rap, Math Hoffa, Cortez, Misfit. People in dancehall like Cutty Ranks, Mikey Jarrett,
legend.
Senior. That's the legend. Mac Daddy. You know, everybody knows Cutty Ranks. 6 million ways to die. Choose one.
The journey of knowing thyself begins in the cradle and ends in the grave. One way to capture those moments of ourself can be found in the shelf. Shelves have been around since the creation of ancient scrolls. My name is Dr. Walter Hidalgo, and I'm a father, teacher, world traveler, and coach. Join me as we explore together the stories of our shelves. This is Know Thyself.
Watch this.
Peace, beautiful family. This is Dr. Walter Hidalgo, and this is the Know Thyself podcast. The Know Thyself podcast utilizes the metaphor of the shelf to extrapolate the self. And the way we do that is we invite guests to come on board and to share something about themselves. And before I introduce the guests, I just want to give a shout out to a few people. Shout out to the God Emilio for the clothes. If you're not watching the Highly Living gear, definitely check it out. Own them, you know. I definitely want to shout out Valerio. I'm waiting for my glasses. They're coming in, so that's dope. Shout out to them. Check their gear out. And if you're looking for any coaching or speaking engagements, holler at me. I do both. Just go to knowthyselftv@gmail.com. All right. So as we always do in the Know Thyself podcast, we like to shout out a group of individuals, and I want to shout out all the DJs. I want to shout out all the producers, all the entrepreneurs, because you see, I remember when I was in middle school, and my boy DJ, who now is DJ Knock, he used to DJ with Fabulous and Cannabis. And he, I remember we were in middle school, and he was like, yo, come to my crib. I want you to come and look at something. We were like 11, 12, and he unpackaged this thing, and it was our freaking DJ equipment. And he said, yo, I'm gonna do this. And he's been doing it ever since. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I got with me someone that I respect, someone that I admire, someone that ain't new to this thing we call hip hop and beyond. My brother, DJ J-Ronin. What's good, kid?
Thank you for having me, man.
Oh my God.
I appreciate it.
No, thank you.
Shout out to everybody tuning in.
Yes, sir. We
all Elements all day. 2 L's up, low lives.
Where do we begin? Like, I met you through the gods. You know what I'm saying? Through Todd, through Steve,
right,
Mike, just everybody that's part of the New York scene that's doing it, and eventually they were like, yo,
streetwear, fashion world.
Yeah, because that's the intersectionality. You know what I'm saying? That's hip hop, that's street culture,
fashion. It's all connected.
All that. So, Ronan, I want to bring it back. It's no different than when we did the 73 joint, because this is just an evolution of it.
But now it's a podcast.
It's
more in depth.
It's more in depth.
Right. Exactly. I always like longer conversations.
Yeah.
Interviews.
Yeah.
I hated when people did like little short things.
That's interesting where we at. We talked about that. Like, we're no longer comfortable with just increments. Some people don't mind that long increments.
You know what's crazy? I used to get paid by this company that's now gone to do interviews with big hip hop artists. And I did in-depth interviews with Rick Ross and Fat Joe, and they really related to me and opened up to me, and they edited these hour-long interviews to like 3 minutes. both of them.
Interesting.
And I don't have the footage. And it's like
Yeah.
you know.
And it's crazy. So that means we only get literally a snippet of someone's
like
life.
little,
We don't even know about them. And that's why I appreciate the podcast game, because I've seen people that I admire, that I know, that I thought I knew. That it's like, wow, you don't know their struggle, you don't know their context. You know
Sometimes you don't know how lame they are.
Yeah, that's a fact too.
Yeah,
some people are bad watch.
Oh my goodness.
That's
like, they should have never gave some of these people podcasts. Like you?
Exactly.
Oh, like yeah, some of them just creeps.
Exactly.
Like, you can't bring the ladies around.
And that's mad corny, because we don't want to just do it on a flashing tip and with the lights. This is like real talk. This is getting to know stuff. So Ronin, bring it back to me, my brother. Like you are from
Flatbush, Brooklyn, born and raised.
Shout out to BK all day, every day.
Yes, sir.
I always say, if we were to go to jump back, you ever seen that movie Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure?
Of course.
Remember that? And they just come out with part 2.
No, part 3 is out now.
That's a fact. That's right.
They had the bogus journey with death.
That's true.
Right. Part 3's out now.
Exactly. I want to see that.
We gotta watch that, baby.
We definitely gotta watch it.
Yo,
shout out to Wifey. She's in the building too, yo. What if we were to jump in Bill and Ted's to go back to a younger Ronin? What would we see? What we hear?
We would see, I was definitely a rebellious kid and a class clown. So you'd see a lot of me in detention, me in the principal's office, me getting kicked out of different schools. But I always had a love for music. I remember playing the clarinet in middle school, and I was in the high school jazz band. Like I was, doing the more advanced stuff even then. And I was playing recorder at 6 years old, and I think I was learning how to read music at the same time I was learning how to read English, and I just.
Is this something that runs in your family, or just something you took in your own accord?
No, I just always loved music.
That's dope.
My father was more into classical, so a little bit of classic rock, jazz, blues. And then just being, growing up in Flatbush, a lot of old school, roots, reggae, dancehall, ska, rock steady, and of course hip hop as well. And then funk and soul and R&B was all around me,
Was it something that you saw on TV? Was it someone that introduced you to you, or just, TV, being out here, every music.
So you have TV, you have radio.
Right.
I grew up in the 80s, so people are boom boxes everywhere. People playing stuff in their cars. People getting money playing music in cars. And I remember hearing Rakim, hearing Kane, EPMD, Ultramagnetic in people's cars. Like, ooh, I like that. Ooh, what's that? That's dope. And seeing B-boys, on cardboard, getting down, boom boxes out, like I said, graffiti and being all around, people doing pieces. I grew up by the Q train line, so there's that whole back area, all these alleys, and then it leads to the tracks. So there's there's pieces and all that, all the way down Brooklyn. And then Wingate Park had a lot of free concerts. So I saw Run DMC as a kid. Jam Master Jay, rest in peace, was one of my heroes. I'm glad they finally caught some of the people involved with that.
That's facts. That's right.
Allegedly, but
can we get like Biggie and Pac and other people's too? Like, you know what I mean?
There was a lot of witnesses. I think the guy that got Pac, I think he's dead already now. Anyway.
That's right. So,
yeah.
So let's talk hip hop. You mentioned a lot of hip hop. You say that hip hop, you know me, like I always approach it like on some spiritual street tip, but was hip hop something that just like everything else just came naturally to you, or was it something that someone introduced? Was it a song? Was it a person that kind of said, "Yo, check this out"? Like,
as a kid, I just loved it. I loved Run DMC. I loved the Fat Boys. I had friends that put me on to certain things. Like I was always into martial arts. And my father put me on like the samurai movies, like Yojimbo as a kid. So martial arts, the movies, and then also the training always influenced my life. So I gravitated to Wu-Tang a lot, being into that. But
shout out to the W.
Yeah.
They were a big influence in my life too. That's
big influence. I was official Wu-Tang DJ. I mean, I guess I still am. I'm still.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
That's dope.
So
and how did that
family?
How did that connection happen?
I just going to shows and networking and getting cool with people.
And that's part of, I think, the thing that
not the internet.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, going to events physically.
Exactly.
And people feeling your energy and your vibe.
Yeah.
And your aura and like, okay.
And that's a fact, because that's one of the things that I admire about you. Like, because I think a lot of times, and we said this in a previous interview when we were doing the 73 joint, that you were like, I think you said something, your net worth is your network, or your network is your net worth. Right. And so many folks have just gone completely digital, not realizing that you need to actually like kiss the baby, hug the people, and be really physically present to let them know that you're a real entity out there.
I mean, you can do what you do online, but it only goes so far. And if you're in the music world, you have to do live events, and you want to bring people out. You can have hype and troll people online and get followers, or you can be an attractive lady and have revealing pictures and have a following on the gram, but can you turn that into a business? So you got to really manifest that physically. You can't just be on the internet. But I always use social media and online promo and email blasts and all that. You got to do both. I was on MySpace early. I had like 40,000 friends.
Wow.
But I was getting all the rappers to get on MySpace. I must have made like 50 rappers MySpace pages for them.
Wow.
And then I got them on Instagram. I got them on Facebook. A lot of these dudes are street dudes, and they wasn't really with it. And I was like, listen, this is the future. So you can make a lot of money on social media. People are gonna hit you up all over the world for shows, for verses. It makes you more accessible. It's good for business. You don't gonna put everything out there, on social media, but it's good for business. And even if you don't want to do it, have your manager do it for you. You gotta. I get so much business on the internet. It's crazy.
And I think this is a good segue, woman, because I would love to hear your opinion. One of the questions I've been asking a lot of people is specifically COVID and faith. How have you been during this time that we're still somewhat kind of undergoing? Thank God New York is still at a different space, but where was DJ J-Ronin's head at during this space?
Wow. I really didn't see it coming. I saw the numbers in China. It wasn't that bad. And people were downplaying it. People like our terrible president. Hopefully he'll be out of here soon enough. I thought maybe things would shut down for a month.
Right.
We would figure it out. But I was on lockdown. Clubs closed down, bars closed down. For the entertainment business, it's hard.
That's
if you rely on live. I'm a promoter as well, setting up live events, DJing events, hosting events. All that was done, and then my studio is in my home, so I didn't want to have everybody come in the studio like that. So I had to shut that down. My studio's open back up, but I'm careful who I have come in. Very limited amount of people. I have people take their shoes off and wash their hands. And all that.
Yeah, and it's and I'm saying that because it's interesting how we during that time have been really forced to utilize technology at its most maximum optimized level. You know what I'm saying? Something that we're kind of on the low against because we like that human interaction, but when in Rome, we do what Romans do.
DJing live streaming. And what's crazy is a lot of these social media platforms, now they don't want you doing it. So Facebook is stopping you from doing live streams, DJing, Instagram as well. It's over. You can do it on Zoom. You know, you can do a private room on Zoom if you want. Also Twitch, they don't want it either.
Right.
So really, you know, we already can't DJ in the club, and now we can't DJ on these platforms as well.
You know, it's interesting because
you get shut down, your account might get shut down.
Yeah.
You get sued. It's
Facts. And I think it's it's when all this stuff was happening. I kid you not, one of the first people that I thought about was the DJs.
Mm-hmm.
Because they live off this. This is what they do.
Right.
Their business is social. And when that social got disrupted, it's like,
right,
how do we pivot and move? You know what I'm saying? But I think that's the same case that we've seen with other folks that were in the entertainment business, particular culture. We took a hard hit, and now we're seeing them trying to control the amount of bandwidth that we were seeing for
right.
IG Live, like when what was it, DJ Premier and the RZA with the Versus joint. I mean, I think they set the tone, and others, you know what I'm saying.
Right.
But it's like now it's pushing us.
DJ Premier, by the way, and
God,
RZA.
yes,
Primo.
That's the guy.
You've been playing that "Wear Your Mask" joint by Jamel Rockwell. The artist formerly known as Sav Kills. So shout out to him playing it on Shady 45. Laughing Headquarters.
Super fact. Shout out to Jamel Rockwell. Shout out to Frank Knight. Mm-hmm. Shout out to the All Elements family. Speaking of that, what is All Elements?
All Elements is a lot of things. It's a crew that I started quite a long time ago of like-minded individuals. There's MCs, DJs, graph writers, chefs, photographers, security, martial artists.
Wow.
It's a big collective. Producers, of course, as well. Some people are more active with it, and it's like a family where we help each other out, try to plug each other into different things. And it's been around a long time. We have different members all over the world.
And I love that the adaptability, because we talk about the street team, we talk about the tech team, we talk about all this other stuff, but you tested the time, you know what I'm saying, because you're still out there and you're still doing your thing out here too.
I did street team work.
Exactly.
I still do online promo work.
Yep.
Still getting paid for online promo. And I got the email blasts, and I got other things going with that. Times change, but you gotta adapt. You gotta be all elements. You gotta be like water. Sometimes you gotta be like stone, like the mountain, and hold firm. 2 feet planted. Sometimes you gotta be like fire. You gotta burn somebody.
Because like I said to you, one of the things I admire.
Pause in the burn.
Pause for real. One of the things I admire about you is this sense of non-individualism. Your communal heart, the dream team, the community. Like, you're always about building with people, building with the guys, putting it out there, being available and accessible.
Right.
Where's this come from? Where's this community-oriented drive come from?
I think it comes from my family. My father and mother are both very involved in community organizations in Brooklyn. Lefferts Manor Association and Plague Now.
Shout out.
And PLG. They're in different artists collectives. And my dad's in different photography clubs. And they always did stuff for the community. Whether it was, security, neighborhood watch, or it was planting stuff to make the neighborhood look better, or helping people get jobs or get work. Or
where's your what's your background? What's your ethnic?
My background is pretty much just Jewish. Ashkenazi mostly. So mostly Eastern Europe. My dad's German Jewish mixed with some other stuff.
Because it seems like
Eastern and Western European, but the roots go back to the Middle East. And for those that want to debate that, we have DNA now, so you can't just make up information.
Your joint came back? Like
No, but I'll get it done. But Ashkenazi and Sephardic Jews have DNA that goes back to the Middle East. It's not made up. You know, people. You know, you got like ignorant people who can be anti-Semitic. Who, you know, it comes from brainwashing, from white supremacy, and you even see that in organizations that should not be influenced by that.
You know what I remember?
More about empowerment of people of color. But they still have this influence that came from the colonizers and that mentality.
You know, it was crazy. When I went to Israel for...
I've never been there. I gotta go.
Yeah, that's a lot of months. Yeah. So when I went to Israel years ago I went on a spiritual retreat. A big group.
Wow.
And I was there for a little bit.
Right.
And I'll never forget, I think, I'm trying to remember, what was it that someone said? Israel is the bridge between Africa and Asia.
The Middle East is in general,
yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and that's just a stream of so much, like...
And you're...
facts. Yeah. It's just something that, like, you can tell there was a geography, a racial mix, and all that stuff, you know what I'm saying? And you're part of that. We're all part of that. We come from all that, you know what I mean?
Were my ancestors a lot darker than me? Of course they were. I'm not denying that, you know? You know, but I love all human families in the world anyway. I'm not...
How does your faith, if at all, inform the stuff that you do?
I'm not really religious, believe it or not. I'm more. My father's an atheist. He might be an agnostic now. My mom, not really religious, but she's a little spiritual. So my grandparents were conservative Jews and Reformed Jews, but I wasn't really raised with the religion, but more like. My mother was a school teacher. My dad worked for the Queen's DA. It's like kind of civic duty to your community, your city, your country. Trying to help those around you. So I grew up with strong morals, but not from a religious background. Which a lot of people, it's different, but it's doing it to better the world around you. It's not about, if I don't do this, I'll go to hell, or if I do this, I'll go to heaven. It's not about what I get out of it personally. It's about making the world around you a better place for everyone.
Yeah, I think you brought up a lot of important stuff. And one of the things I wanted to ask you is, you know, as someone that has been doing this for a while, you work with young people, you know what I mean, in a variety of capacities.
Not as much right now because of COVID.
Soon.
Right.
But what is you know, building with the gods and learning all these lessons? What is one or two things that you got out of it?
When you say the gods, you mean particularly the Nation of Gods and Earths, or do you mean any particular group?
Any religion group and all that stuff.
You know, the Nation of Gods and Earths, I really liked. Supreme mathematics and how it relates to your life. 1 being knowledge, 2 being wisdom, 3 being understanding. It goes from there, and to know that you have to do the 1 before the 2. You have to have knowledge on something to get wisdom, to get understanding of it. I think it brings structure to how people learn and how people do things. So that's one thing. I would say martial arts also, just being around that, and part of that is living Bushido, that code, justice and respect and honor, and giving back to your community through studying martial arts. My jiu-jitsu family, Kumatiri Jiu-Jitsu, Professor Dominique Brioche was my teacher. She encouraged me to work with kids at Masa, which is another dojo that we train at. That's our brother dojo with Grandmaster Bill, who was Charlie Bozeman's teacher. Rest in peace to Charlie Bozeman.
And that's dope, because that's one thing you and I have in common, the martial arts thing. I always tell people my introduction, my real, I want to say, introduction to God, specifically on a spiritual level, was when my sensei told me to clear my mind and meditate.
Right.
He told me that what you're learning is violence, but this is a last resort thing that you do. This is more about defeating yourself. And through defeating all the demons and the hate you got inside of you, when it comes down to showtime, you flow like water, like Bruce Lee said. So for me, it was like the first time someone told me to clear my mind, because everybody else told me to write, reflect, assess. But this guy was telling me, and a bunch of us, like, yo, clear your mind, breathe. So we mentioned our young people. You're someone who's been involved and culturated, and what we've seen is this proliferation of protest. Black Lives Matter, the killing, unarmed, I don't like these terms, black, people of color, but it's also women and men.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on all that, Ron?
And unfortunately, it's nothing new. And it's been a problem for a long time. I have a book called The Stolen Lives Project, which is about over 10,000 people that have been killed by cops. Most of them people of color over the last 50 years. Over 10,000. And that book is like 20 years old. So, I know growing up, and mind you, I have friends who were police officers and detectives, and in law enforcement. I have family in law enforcement. And, these guys happen to be more high-minded people, and they do these kind of jobs because they're trying to make things better. And I talk to them, I communicate with them, and if they have a misconception about why certain things are the way they are, I try to enlighten them. But cops, when I was younger, were worse. Were dirtier, taking money from the mob. You can watch that, the mob documentary on Netflix about that. Killing people, killing drug dealers, taking their drugs, selling it, beating up kids for nothing, killing kids for nothing. And that was in the 80s and 90s. And it wasn't camera phones back then. They got away with a lot more back then. And before that, even in the 70s, it was even worse.
So Jay, we typically ask folks to bring something to share from their shop. What you got for us?
Okay. I thought about what I was gonna bring. I thought about, a martial arts belt, a certificate, or something, a certificate about working with the kids, or showing, a shelf full of sneakers, or closets full of polo. And all that is cool, but that's, I thought about being literal, having a shelf, full of books, because I always say knowledge is power. You gotta read more books, people, not just Wikipedia. Read a damn book.
Right.
You want to really learn about something, read a book on it. Yeah. But what I chose to bring from my item from my shelf, and knowing myself, is a microphone. And this microphone was given to me as a gift from my grandmother. She gave me the money for it. Who passed away. Grandma Dottie, Dorothy Grobstein, rest in peace.
R.I.P.
And let me show you guys. This is a mic I got in 2005. And I used it to record over 3,000, maybe 4,000 songs. Wow. It's the GT55 mic. This is heavy. This is the joint right here. Tube mic, a condenser mic, gives you that really warm sound, which was what my studio is still known for. And I recorded so much with this. artists, songs for their albums, their mixtapes, my mixtapes. Literally stuff that was on hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of CDs. Probably millions of people have heard songs that have come from this mic.
Give us some of those, those names.
From Wu-Tang stuff, Capadonna, Killer Priest did a verse on this mic that was on a Ghostface album, on Def Jam. So many people, from Queensbridge, Craig G, the Juice Crew, Tragedy Gaddafi,
shout out.
AG Digging the Crates, MOP, shout out to Billy Dan's A Little Fame, Sean Price, rest in peace, Rock from Helter Skelter, Smith & Wesson, of course my crew, Jamel Rockwell, Sav Kills, Frank Knight, King Marvy X, R. Hendrix, shout out to all Elements crew. People in battle rap, Math Hoffa, Cortez, Misfit. People in dancehall like Cutty Ranks, Mikey Jarrett,
legend,
Senior. That's the Mac Daddy. Everybody knows Cutty Ranks. 6 million ways to die. Choose one. You all know that. So many people. Rod Digger, Razzcast, Planet Asia. My fan out in Cali, Fiend from formerly of No Limit.
Oh yeah.
I recorded an interview I did with him on this mic. Sky Zoo, Mickey Fax, Knowledge from Kids in the Hall, Soul, Shot Stimuli, so many people.
Wow.
Jazzo, the originator. Cool Keith, Ultramagnetic MC, Sadat X, Brand Nubian. So many and way more than that. Killer Army, Sons of Man, Killer Priest, Timbo King. I already said Timbo. Hellraiser, Pardon Me, Prodigal Son. So many people. It just
the list goes on.
It goes on and on and on.
And what does that mean for you?
I'm grateful that I had family supportive of what I was doing. And as I put more work into it, they became more supportive. They saw the hard work, the dedication, and that's what you're supposed to do. As family, I look forward to being a parent. I'm married.
That's right.
It's a beautiful thing. Yeah. I'm trying to show people that marriage and monogamy is okay. It doesn't make you a sucker. Being a pimp is corny. Pimps don't get old and live a happy life.
Word, yeah.
It's a beautiful thing to grow old with somebody and have your life companion. Yeah. So anyway, this mic is super special and a lot of money was made on this.
That's
one
super
microphone.
fat. Yeah, that's dope. Yeah. Yo, shout out to all the MCs and the spitters and the reggae artists. That's why I wanted to have you come in because you
Maya Asher sang her ass off on this mic.
Yo, facts.
She got nominated. She got a Grammy.
Wow, look at that.
A couple of Grammy award-winning people sang and rapped and chatted and toasted, or whatever you want to call it.
Right. So what artists are you working with now? What music you dropping now?
Okay.
What sort of stuff that you got coming out of your show?
The artist formerly known as Sav Kills, Jamel Rockwell.
Shout out to Jamel Rockwell.
We got a lot of stuff with him coming out. He has a whole EP with Camouflage Monk from Griselda. Shout out to Westside Gun, Conway, Benny.
Yo, they are doing it.
They killing it.
What?
They killing it.
Loving it. Every second of it.
And I was very supportive of them. I think I'm the first New York DJ to really interview them and put it out there.
Super facts. Yeah, that's a fact.
I was playing
and you got your own podcast too.
Yeah.
Talk to the folks about that.
I'm doing All Elements Radio in different ways. It's coming.
Yeah. Where can people find you? Where's your information?
Instagram at JRONIN82 or mixcloud.com/JRONIN. I'm putting out mixes on Mixcloud. I just put out a new one that was for a radio show out in Belgium, Culture Wild, and always putting out new music. I got a project with Frank Knight coming.
Yeah, I was about to ask you about that. Yep.
Frank has an old project with Chuck LaWayne, who's a producer, who's also part of our All Elements crew. And Chuck also raps on the project. That's coming real soon. That's the Slim and Mickens project. And Jamel also has a project called, what's called Still Determined. We might change it. I don't know if we're keeping that title. But that album was crazy. MOP is on there, Wu-Tang, Sean Price, rest in peace, Smith & Wesson. So all that's coming. I got Freestyle Files Volume 3. I'm finishing that up. That's rappers all on classic beats. And I got Westside Gun and Conway on there. Rome Streets, Swave Sever, Harlem Team Hami, Shabam Sadiq. A lot of greats.
One thing too that I always known you repping it now. Low Lifes, the polo.
Oh, yes, sir.
Talk to me about that. What does that mean for you?
Low Lives is love and loyalty. Now, originally it was money, hoes, and clothes. Now, making money is important. For me, I'm beyond chasing hoes. I'm married, so it's about supporting your wife and your queen, being there for her, and still getting fly.
It's a fact, right?
Shout out to Sun Low, Rack Low, Thurston Howe, Big Brother Barlow.
That's right, and it's interesting because you're living the real love in hip hop. They got the commercial joint, but what does that mean? We don't talk a lot about marriage and partnership and how that adds, not conflicts with the movement and the culture.
Well, I'm blessed that my wife loves hip hop and loves music in general, so I can bring her to the shows, I can bring her to the parties, and she has fun. And she's also into photography, so she can take photos. She's very supportive, so it's a beautiful thing. She's part of the culture. I saw her at the Brooklyn Hip Hop Festival before I knew her.
Wow.
A few years before we got to know each other. So, I've seen her at a couple of events. What was the question again? I'm sorry.
So, because I said, you're the real love in hip hop.
Right.
How has marriage added to this spark and move that you have?
It added a lot. You wanna always to be able to provide for your family. We're working on having kids, so it pushes you to be more successful, work harder. Get different streams of revenue from different places. Diversify what you do. I moved out of a smaller one-bedroom apartment to a duplex. That's a lot nicer. Way like 5 times more room.
Facts. Yeah.
And I'm lucky I got a good deal on it.
Yeah. When y'all moving forward, that's beautiful.
We do jiu-jitsu together. We train together. And having that companion, like a support of you and vice versa, it's nothing like it.
And we talk.
Every king needs a queen, and vice versa.
Yeah. We talk about raising kings and queens too, but it got to start with you too. You got to develop and build that kingdom so that the next generation just builds off that.
And I'm trying to live by example. I'm always trying to do that. But with marriage, showing that you can still be hip hop, you can still do what you want to do, but it's not corny. It's not. Marriage is not played out. It's a beautiful thing. I'm lucky. My parents, they just celebrated their 50th anniversary.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Shout out to my parents.
Shout out to the cats. We got the cats in the building. J-Ronin, it's such a pleasure and an honor to be here with you.
Thank you, bro.
You have to build with the gods. You already know.
I'm glad you came.
You know what I'm saying? What's one piece of advice you would give to those up and coming DJs right now, that especially now, what are the
during COVID
pros and cons? I mean, just in general, what sort of tips you would drop?
Know about music. Be able to know about all kinds of genres, so you can rock any kind of event. You could rock, a basement bashment reggae party. You could do some trap, you could do Latin trap, you could do jazz and soul for an older crowd. You be able to DJ a wedding and a bar mitzvah and a birthday party. People who are 10 years old and 100 years old. Know how to appeal to any kind of crowd, so you can always get gigs. Now it's just power, and having that now it's about music will enable you to have playlists, set lists that can appeal to anybody.
Super fact. So, as we always do at the Know Thyself podcast, we like to end with a quote. And I think this quote speaks to you, my brother, specifically. So I always like to build with a quote that speaks to the guests. And this one comes from Henry Ford. Alright? The guy wrote is like, I think I know him. Yes, Ford, the car. Yeah. It reads as such. Coming together is a beginning. Staying together is progress. And working together, now that's success.
That's cool, but Henry Ford was a racist, anti-Semitic person.
That's a fact too.
Who supported Hitler and Mussolini and donated money and trucks to them, and the U.S. government had to shut him down because he was helping the Axis. So he was like, to me.
Should we misquote him?
No, it's okay. It's okay. it's a good quote, but it's not a big fan. Because he's a racist bastard, but
Yo, Henry Ford and anybody else, don't be racist, man. Not at this time. Yo,
I had to put that in there. I don't know.
I know, but you are the epitome of community. You are someone that's doing awesome stuff. I'm proud of you.
Thank you, man.
Thank you so much for coming and visiting us, or shall I say, us coming in to your home right here. Yo, shout out to Brooklyn.
The home studio.
This is where we're at, and we'll be back.
Thank
Know
you,
that
man.
show. Peace.
Salute, peace, y'all. All elements, all day. 2 L's up, low lives. Blah. Ayak. What up?
This is Grim Reapers, shutting down your respiratory, permanent sleepers, causing high fevers, warning through your speakers. Jamel Rockwell, yes, I'm giving you them heaters. Let y'all know, this is like Black Bravo. Hope you got your mask on, better keep it in tow. Drink your black seed like you drinking H2O. Nah, just a teaspoon, just a tad bit, because the government acting like our lives ain't shit. After this here, you crook, you be going legit. Spitting for the community, people are sick. Fucking with Trump, here have you eating bleach chewables. Ignorant to the pain and damage, what he doing, dude? Viruses, like we need a black god of Cyruses. Trapped up like we being lab rats for the scientists. George Floyd protests, we can't breathe. Cops still killing us like you wouldn't believe. Now they just coming clean about UFOs. Flying saucers out the swirl right under our nose. Police whooping people ass, stressing social distancing. Revelers toting firearms out of Michigan. Never seen a time like this, we in apocalypse now. Streets is walking dead. They tryna lock us all down and beat us over our head. Oh no, what's that, cousin? Now they talking about murder hornets, what's that buzzing? Oh no, what's that, cousin? Now they talking about murder hornets, what's that buzzing? You better win. Oh no, what's that, cousin? Now they talking about murder hornets, what's that buzzing? Oh no, what's that, cousin? Now they talking about murder hornets, what's that buzzing? Quarantined out of work, we await our next move because the government need to wear the people them shoes. People running out of money and essentials and food. Trying to find a vaccine, still looking for clues. Man, I tell you, you just gotta turn up the news. Causing muscle pains, mentally I'm drained. This is like Crazy Eddie going insane. Even got the animals running around untamed. Smack in the dead of spring, broad hell rain. Spit it all hell, last days and times. Tell us what we going through, better read the signs. Heaven's in our unity, this is how we design. I'm reflecting